Hey, what's up, cats and kittens? And shout out to all my cerebral lights. It is she, the cerebral diva, and she is back and officially in the building with another episode of Reality, and that's TEA because I give it to you scalding hot. So grab your cups, grab your saucers, gather around, and let's all partake in this libation of Real Housewives of Atlanta Tea, Season 12, Episode 17. It went down in Greece, right? I didn't talk about last week's episode. Part of the reason why I haven't talked about it is because I have not seen it. Just haven't gotten around to seeing that episode, but I definitely saw last night's episode. And it was a pretty interesting one, I might say. So, the girls have decided to take a trip to Greece. This trip was coordinated by Candy and Kenya due to the fallout from the charity event that Kenya and Mark had. Kenya was sort of on the fence about whether or not she wanted to come. She was worried about the girls treating her a certain way, maybe being insensitive to her. I have to side eye her for that. Like, really, you're concerned about people being insensitive to you, Kenya? The queen of insensitivity is concerned about it, but apparently she was. It's like my grandmother always told me, like, a thief hates to be stolen from, a liar hates to be lied to, and in this case, a person who's insensitive hates insensitivity. So Kenya did not want to go because she didn't want to walk around with egg on her face, to be completely honest with you. And I think most of us can understand that, but most of us are kind of like, really? At least I am. So I can't speak for everyone, but I was just like, Kenya, stop. Like, as insensitive as you can be in a lot of instances, and that's not to say that she's always insensitive, but case in point, when she walked up into Marlo's event and completely hijacked her event, that was very insensitive to all of the time and effort that Marlo put into her event, but you didn't see anything wrong with doing that. So if you can dish it out, you have to be able to take it. But anyway, so this episode begins with Candy and Cynthia making their way over to Kenya's house to console her after she announces on the blogs that she and Mark are divorcing. Now, Kenya says to Cynthia and Candy that he forced my hand. And essentially, Mark had gone to the blogs and made a statement that the two of them were separated. And Kenya, being the queen of one-upmanship, yes, I made that up, one-upmanship, she had to one-up Mark by, like, if you're going to say we're separated, I'm going to take it a step further and I'm going to file for divorce because at the end of the day, I need to be the one to say I ended this relationship, so I'm going to file for divorce. When it's clear that she really doesn't want to end the marriage. Why she doesn't want to end it is beyond me. Why she got married to this man is beyond me. I don't know who he was when she fell in love with him. I don't know who she was when she said her I do's. I don't know. I just can't for the life of me see why you would look at a man like this and say, this is who I want to spend the rest of my life with. I can't see it. I honestly cannot see why. Now, Mark is not a bad looking guy. So if you're going to go on aesthetic, not my type necessarily, but not a bad looking guy. He's a handsome guy. I could do without the nose ring. I could do without the curly box top. But outside of that, I don't think he's a bad looking guy. So aesthetically, if he's what you want, I can see a woman going for that. But his personality is garbage. His personality is trash. Like, who would want to be in a relationship with a man who treats you like this? And we've watched this happen episode after episode after episode where Kenya is essentially invisible to this man. He does not care about her opinion, what she's doing, who she's doing it with, what she has to say. He is completely checked out. Now, in Mark's defense, right, I don't know what Kenya has done to get him to this point, because maybe we're seeing the aftermath of trauma that Kenya has caused in this relationship, right? So maybe Kenya, because we obviously, to play devil's advocate here, we know Kenya isn't the easiest person to get along with. So maybe Mark was just tired of the ish. Mark was just like, look, I'm over it. I'm tired of babying you. I'm tired of pacifying you. I've done that. You want to play this princess role. I'm done. I'm checking out. Maybe at some point in the relationship that happened and it just wasn't captured on camera because Kenya was gone last season. So we didn't see the way she behaved. Kenya can have a tendency to be emotionally indigent, where she's always clingy, and maybe that wore him out. Maybe he was just like, look, this is too much. I have a business. I have this. I simply do not know. I just know that based on what I see on TV as of now, the optics in terms of Mark do not look good. He comes across as insensitive, narcissistic, a megalomaniac to a degree. Um, and the reason I give Kenya a pass when it comes to Mark, or a slight pass, is because when I watch Mark's interactions with people outside of Kenya, he still has the same a-hole tendencies with Cynthia, with Mike, with other people in general. Like, his people skills just are not there. His interpersonal communication skills just are completely lacking. I hope he watches these episodes and has the presence of mind to step outside of himself for a moment and really look at the interactions that he's having on camera. And maybe that's it too. Maybe he's camera shy. Sometimes cameras can make people behave um, differently than they would if cameras weren't around. I don't know. But all I know is based on what I've seen, I would have cursed Mark completely out. I would have cursed him out completely out a couple of times, like, just because I'm a firm believer in you teach people how you want to be treated. And Mark comes with that sort of East Coast New York swagger, just rude and very abrupt and very succinct in terms of their communication style. Don't have time for the small talk, the chit chat. I'm just direct and to the point, and that's cool. I can respect that. But even when you're being direct and succinct, there's a level of consideration that you get to the person that you're speaking with, and clearly he hasn't mastered that. So Mark and Kenya have decided to go their separate ways. Kenya's crying because obviously she doesn't want to end the marriage, but I think that this will be one of those things that she'll look back on and she'll definitely be the better for. The good thing is, she more than a marriage, I think she wanted to be a mom, right? So she's accomplished that. You got the baby, you got Brooklyn. I'm not sure what custody is going to look like between the two of you, but at the very least, at least you did accomplish having a child and being a mother and being able to break the pathology that existed between Kenya and her mom. So kudos to her for that. But I think, look, count your losses, sis. Collect your coins, and move on with your life. There's so many other opportunities, so many other men out there in the world. There's a billion people in this world. Half of them have the coronavirus, but there's still a billion people out here. So get out, spread your wings, date, enjoy life. Enjoy motherhood, but don't have your your experience as being a first time mother marred by this man. Like, this dude just has bad energy all around, bad juju written all over him. So back to the episode, okay? So Kenya is crying. Candy and Cynthia are consoling her. She confesses that she's found text messages from Mark, from other and Mark's phone, from other women, and so we know that the issues that they're having are a lot deeper than just this charity event. These issues are deep rooted, and go back a lot further than what's been captured by the Bravo cameras, which I thought was really good to give people some insight and some context, so it doesn't look like it's so irrational, like they just broke up overnight. So Kenya, in spite of everything that's going on, she's debating whether or not she wants to go to Greece because she doesn't want people making fun of her. She's sad. Don't make fun of me. I'm hurting. The woman who takes so much pride in what she did to Tanya, the woman who took so much pride in what she did to Marlo at her event, is now somehow concerned about people being sensitive to her. Go figure. Go figure. So, and understand this, right? Up until this season, I have been Team Kenya, right? It's been Team Kenya versus Team Nene. At this point, I'm Team No One. I don't like Kenya. I don't like Nene. I will say that based on last night's episode, I'm veering more back to the side of Nene. Just because after I saw Kenya's behavior on this past episode, I was like, you know what? This is why bad energy and bad karma continues to follow you, because you are baking this cake over and over and over. And every time it comes back, then suddenly, it's like you throw these rocks and you hide your hands every single time. And I'm rooting for you just because I like you and I always have a tendency to root for the underdog. But at this point, you're no longer an underdog. You're coming across as a bit of a bully to me. So anyway, the girls are all at the airport. Everyone's packed, ready to go. Shout out to Marlo. I thought Marlo looked amazing on the flight to Greece. I loved her ensemble. I loved her sort of hip hop flair. I thought she looked super cute. So all the girls go to Greece. Once they get to Greece, Kenya miraculously appears from nowhere. So the girls are shocked because they were pretty much convinced at that point that she wasn't going to come on the trip, but she did show up. Nene cracks me up because at one point Nene said, "Look, I knew she was going to show up because she was on on the season last year." And basically saying, "Look, you get paid per episode, so if sis wants this check, she needs to be in the building." So, of course, Nene was right. Kenya did not want to forego that Bravo check. She showed up to make sure that she was paid for that episode. So all the girls are in Greece, and Candy and Kenya had put together this sort of game where the girls who every single trip are always competing for a room. They had to basically, it was like Fear Factor almost. They had to do different challenges in order to get their rooms. So everyone got their rooms. Um, and at some point, they have a little dinner. I don't know if it was on a rooftop or where it was. So they're having a little dinner. Kenya shows up. Nene's there. Everyone's there. Cynthia has a talk to everyone, with everyone leading up to this dinner where she basically pulls everyone aside and says, "Hey, look, Kenya's having a hard time. Can we try to be a little bit more sensitive to her?" I think she had that talk with them at the airport before they left Atlanta, as well as when they landed in Greece. And she's basically pleading for sympathy for Kenya, which I thought was really sweet of Cynthia. And so at some point she goes to Nene. Nene's flat ironing her hair and she says, "Look, do you think, you can extend an olive branch?" And I'm paraphrasing here. "Do you think you can extend an olive branch to Kenya?" And Nene was, a little hesitant at first. And she was like, "Yeah, it's cool. I can do that." So the dinner happens. Cynthia, everyone shows up. Kenya comes late. When she comes late, she's sitting around the table and she's thanking everyone. She thanked everyone, even Marlo, but she made it a point to specifically not mention Nene's name. I'm like, this girl is so petty. So after she does that, at some point the dinner is over, and Cynthia says, "Okay, everyone, when everyone's leaving, I'd like for Nene and Kenya to stay behind for a conversation." And Kenya's like, "No." You could tell she was just very uncomfortable by the prospect of having to sit down and have a conversation with Nene. So she gets up and goes and gets cake or whatever, pie or something, and walks away. But clearly she's trying to avoid this conversation. So Nene is like, "I don't mind having a conversation. I'm okay. We can talk." And I was like, I had to applaud Nene in that moment. I was like, look at Nene being a grown woman. And in that instance, you realize that, Nene is making an effort to try to fix this, to try to mend whatever relationship is possible between the two of them. But Kenya is so set in her ways and so obstinate that she cannot just for one moment put things aside and just agree to disagree, to say, "Hey, look, let's have this conversation. At the end of the day, we're not going to be friends, but at the very least, we can be civil to one another." Because in Kenya's defense, like, I can appreciate, like, look, we haven't been talking, we don't talk. Just because we're in Greece, what we're not going to do is put on airs and make it seem like everything is copacetic when it's not. So I'm not going to do that. So I can understand Kenya's disposition from that point, but I can't understand not not being able to sit down and just have a conversation that I couldn't understand. So anyway, because Nene sees Kenya basically rejecting her advances in terms of trying to mend this friendship or to resolve whatever issues they have, Nene gets offended. Now, this is where I feel Nene is a little bit of a hypocrite, right? Because Nene is offended that Kenya gets up and walked away. But if you recall, was it last season or the season before? We're in 12, so maybe in season 10, possibly season 11. When Nene was going through everything with Greg and the whole cancer scare, and one of the things Nene kept saying was, I'm going through a lot, show me some sensitivity. But here it is, Kenya's going through a lot, but you don't give her the courtesy of a level of sensitivity, give her a pass, so to speak. I wouldn't have given her one either, Nene. I wouldn't have given her one either, if I'm being completely honest with you, but I wouldn't have treated people the way that Nene treated people when she and Greg were going through whatever they were going through. But that's just me. So Nene gets offended. The whole kumbaya moment explodes in Cynthia's face. So obviously, the two of these women just are not going to be friends. It's a done dada. It's a wrap. Put a fork in it. The fat lady has sang. They're just not going to be friends. Um, so I'm trying to think, is there anything else that happened outside of that? Nothing else monumental that I can think of. It'll be interesting to see what happens next week. I think this is the episode that people have been talking about a lot this season, the spitting episode where Nene basically says that she makes a spitting gesture, but she didn't actually spit on Kenya. So we'll get to see that unfold and see uh, exactly what happened there. But at this point, listen, we just need to have a pay-per-view event. Put Kenya and Nene in a boxing ring. Let them, just battle it out. And let's just call it a day because this back and forth between the two of them has got to stop. It's just like you can't have any peace when the two of them are around each other. It's just not good energy. Anyway, you guys, I have to get out of here. It's almost time for me to get to work. So I want to wish everyone a happy Monday. Remember, as always, in closing, to live better, love harder, think smarter, like, comment, and subscribe if you care. As always, in closing, I will see you guys again soon. Have a great day. Bye bye.